Welcome to the Braund Sat-Trol mobile digital antenna system. This video will help you install your Sat-Trol and show you how to operate your Sat-Trol. The items included are Sat-Trol dish assembly, azimuth locator assembly, azimuth dial, ceiling plate, spacer, azimuth pointer label and instructions, hardware kit, and cable and option kit. The tools you will need to install the Sat-Trol system are electric hand drill, Phillips screwdriver, hacksaw, caulking compound similar to 3M check sealer number 8543, drill bits 3/32 inch, 9/64 inch, and 1/2 inch, hole saw 1 inch, coax crimp tool, and tape measure. Prior to installing the Sat-Trol, be sure your vehicle is in a safe park condition. The ignition switch must be in a lock position. Make sure the Sat-Trol antenna cannot touch any power lines. You should also remove any jewelry. The first step is to select a location on your vehicle for the Braund Sat-Trol antenna system. Keep in mind, to operate the antenna system, the vehicle must be level, and the antenna must be level with respect to the vehicle. Be careful not to drill into a roof stud, wiring, or any other type of fixture or device in the ceiling of the vehicle. In addition, the minimum clearance required to operate the Sat-Trol is an area with an 18-inch turning radius. And to store the unit in folded down traveling position requires an area pointing toward the back of the vehicle with a 26-inch radius. Also, it is recommended to have the front edge of the mounting plate overlap a roof stud without drilling a hole through the roof stud. If you will be installing your own coax cable connection using the optional coax entry plate, locate the 1-inch shaft hole just as described. If your vehicle has a coax cable pre-installed, you may choose to locate the Sat-Trol next to the cable if the previously mentioned conditions are met. In this case, use the template provided to locate the position for the 1-inch center shaft hole with respect to the coax cable hole. Once the location of the hole for the shaft has been determined, use your electric hand drill and 1-inch hole saw to cut a hole through the roof and ceiling of the vehicle. Measure the roof to ceiling thickness with a tape measure. In this case, the roof thickness is 4.5 inches. Use the chart provided in the Installation and Operating Instruction Manual to cut the azimuth locator assembly to size. In this case, no cut is required. Next, cut the shaft of the dish assembly to size. Remember to make your measurement from the bottom of the rotation coupler. In this case, the length is 5 1/16 inches and no cut is required. Slip the crank handle on the end of the shaft and turn it 14 complete rotations. Caulk the under edge of the mounting plate just inside the pre-drilled screw holes. Put the shaft of the Sat-Trol dish assembly through the hole. Drill a hole through one of the pre-drilled holes in the mounting plate and into the roof of the vehicle. Use a 3/32 inch bit if you are using screws, or 9/64 inch bit if you are using rivets to mount the unit. The holes should be approximately a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch deep. Fasten the unit with a screw or rivet. Drill another hole opposite the first hole and apply a screw or rivet to secure the unit. Now, continue to drill the remaining 12 holes and install the screws or rivets. Caulk over each of the screw or rivet heads and around the outer edge of the mounting plate to provide a weather-tight seal. Now, go inside the vehicle and use the crank to return the Sat-Trol to the folded or traveling position. Be sure the Sat-Trol is completely resting against the rotation stop. Place the ceiling plate and azimuth locator over the shaft so that the azimuth locator slides into the rotation coupler. Slightly rotating the azimuth locator back and forth will help it easily slip into the rotation coupler. Align the arrow on the ceiling plate to point toward the front of the vehicle. While holding the ceiling plate stationary, remove the azimuth locator. Mark the location of the 3 ceiling plate screw holes. Remove the ceiling plate. Use the hand drill and 3/32 inch bit to drill screw holes. Take the azimuth dial, spacer and sealing plate, and align the screw holes. Now, place them over the shaft, making sure to align the screw holes in the spacer and sealing plate, with the drilled holes in the vehicle ceiling. Use the screws to secure the azimuth locator, spacer, and sealing plate to the ceiling of the vehicle. Place the azimuth locator over the shaft and push it through the sealing plate and into the rotation coupler. While holding the azimuth locator in place, take the spring and place it over the shaft and against the azimuth locator. Take the crank and place it on the end of the shaft. Allow enough clearance for the crank and the azimuth dial to rotate freely. Tighten the set screw in the crank with the hex key. Take the azimuth pointer label and place it on the azimuth locator so that it aligns with the arrow on the sealing plate. Use the crank inside and raise the Sat-Trol upright, approximately 14 turns. Keep in mind, a minimum of 4 feet of cable is needed from the coax fitting on the LNB to the entry location on the roof, so that the Sat-Trol can rotate 360 degrees freely without the cable hindering the rotation movement. Select a location of the hole for the coax cable. Be careful not to drill into a roof stud, wiring, or any other type of fixture or device on the ceiling of the vehicle. Use the hand drill and a 1/2 inch bit and drill a hole through the roof and ceiling of the vehicle. Feed the cable down through the roof to the inside of the vehicle. Connect this cable to the back of the coax entry plate. Caulk the area around the hole. Now, push the excess cable back into the vehicle until the coax entry plate is flush with the roof. Use the hand drill and 3/32 inch bit and the coax entry plate as a template. Drill 4 holes into the roof to mount the entry plate. Secure the entry plate with the 4 screws or rivets. Connect the cable from the Sat-Trol to the coax entry plate. Caulk over each of the screw or rivet heads and around the outer edge of the entry plate to provide a weather-tight seal. Depending on the distance from the Sat-Trol and the coax entry plate, additional coax cable may be required. Secure any loose coax cable to the roof of the vehicle with the cable clips provided. Connect the coax cable from the antenna to the satellite in connector on the back of the satellite receiver. Connect the cable from the television to the out to TV connector. Place the satellite receiver in a safe and secure location. Turn the crank handle 14 turns to set dish at 20-degree elevation. This is the basic vertical position. Now, use a compass to find north. Align the N on the Sat-Trol ceiling dial with north. Now you need to determine the azimuth and elevation settings for the Sat-Trol. If you know the zip code of your location, you may use this number with your receiver's menu system to obtain the azimuth and elevation settings. Just follow the instructions included with your receiver. You can also determine these settings from the map and the satellite 101-degree west chart in the Sat-Trol installation manual. Use the map to determine the approximate latitude and longitude lines within the nearest 5 degrees that are closest to your present location. Then, use these numbers to look up the azimuth degrees from north and the number of turns to set the degrees of elevation. Disengage the Sat-Trol position lock pins by pulling down on the azimuth locator assembly and rotate it to align the azimuth pointer label with the proper azimuth degree setting on the ceiling dial. Release the azimuth locator assembly and re-engage the locking pins. It is now time to adjust the elevation setting. Note with the Sat-Trol in its present position, each additional complete rotation of the crank handle increases the elevation 5 degrees. Turn the crank handle the number of turns specified in the Satellite West 101 West chart for your location. Turn the television set on and check for a picture or audio tone as explained in the receiver instructions. Use the receiver's alignment system to fine-tune the position of the dish. The receiver's signal strength screen uses an audio tone and the video display to help you fine-tune the dish's position. While viewing the signal strength menu on the television screen, Make small adjustments in the azimuth and elevation settings of the Sat-Trol until the bar graph indicates the strongest signal. For further information on fine-tuning, please see your receiver instructions. When traveling with the Braund Sat-Trol antenna system, it must be rotated to point and fold rearward in the travel position. Align the azimuth pointer label with the black arrow on the ceiling plate and release the azimuth locator, allowing the locking pins to seat. Rotate the crank handle clockwise to lower the dish all the way down. Snug the dish down, but do not over-torque the handle, as damage may occur to the mechanism. Remember, it is very important to properly position and lower the Sat-Trol into its travel position. Otherwise, the Sat-Trol and possibly the vehicle's roof structure could become damaged.